Now funding on Kickstarter a brand new set of Halloween mask pins, vintage style pins designed by me, Kneon. Check it out at halloween.ninja. That's halloween.ninja. And there it is. The other shoe has dropped. Marvel Comics is leaving New York. Marvel Comics, which is closely associated with New York, and their characters are closely associated with New York. They're leaving for Los Angeles, just like DC Comics before them. And not only that, but Cebulski is out as editor-in-chief, and they're actually putting him in charge of, get this, manga.
Yeah.
Manga.
And an Asian market storytelling.
In Asian markets.
Which is what's going to go on Webtoon, because that's what they're doing.
So this is a couple days after Fandom Pulse. I think it was Fandom Pulse. There were a couple other outlets reporting it, but they said that they were hearing that Marvel was just going to rely more heavily on Webtoon. Now, that doesn't mean there's not going to be any print comics anymore, right? But it does mean that print is not going to be their primary distribution model for comics. And then moving out of New York entirely, I never thought I'd see the day when Marvel just decided to quit New York.
Well, it's funny to me because going to California isn't the best scenario either, because all these businesses are fleeing LA and all that stuff. But they're going to LA. Maybe they got a good deal. I mean, tax breaks or something.
It's just like with DC, where they moved the comics office to LA and to be closer to the movie side of things. And that's what they're going to do with Marvel. So I'm telling you, what is going to happen before it's all said and done is Marvel Comics, whatever form they take, it's just going to be ancillary merchandise like T-shirts and whatever. They'll have a couple of people in California that will oversee the license. So it's not like people are just going to willy-nilly create Marvel Comics or whatever. People are like, oh, it's so stupid. They're not going to have any oversight. I'm like, that's not how licensing works. The license holder has the reins on the license, right? And Disney, having worked on Disney licensed comics for years, I can tell you they're very, very, very persnickety, and that's what's going to...
very picky. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, if the tongue color on a duck is the wrong color, you will hear about it, right?
Yes.
So they will probably have a tight rein on whoever makes the actual Marvel Comics, but I don't see this lasting, the whole system of them publishing the comics lasting very, very much longer, especially with CB Cebulski being put in charge of Asian markets. That does sound like Webtoon. And this goes...
Yes. That's what this is going to be. I'm telling you. And people don't seem to understand what Webtoon is. I noticed that people talking about it, they don't seem to understand what it is. It is a completely different audience. So you need a completely different type of storytelling. What goes on there are not the superhero stuff so much, but it's more slice of life, fantasy, rom-com type stuff. But it's a different audience, and it's predominantly female. But that doesn't mean there aren't men on there. There's men on there too. But just putting up your old comics and letting them, run on there is not going to do well. That's why, the Wayne family comics did really well, because they actually made a story and formatted it for that audience. And that's probably what they're gonna start doing. They're probably gonna make these side comics, for that audience on Webtoon. And that doesn't mean that they're not going to make print comics for people, but I think that it's going to be more and more outsourced to other places as time goes by. But the Webtoons, they're going to do that because that's where the audiences are. And it's probably be stuff that comics readers don't like, because it's going to be for a completely different audience.
Middle-aged men won't like, basically. No. And they're I think they're going to try to serve multiple masters. Disney does this all the time. They did it with the Mickey and Donald books too. They had like the kid-friendly line, and then they had the collector line, which was stuff from the 50s and 60s. But let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
If you'd like more Clownfish TV, go out to more.clownfishtv.com. That's moreclownfishtv.com for more Clownfish TV podcasts and videos you will not find anywhere else. And also, if you'd like to listen to us instead of watch us, you can go out to Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. Look for Clownfish TV podcasts, and there we are, and there it is. And this tracks Fandom Pulse. I know they were. I feel bad for them. They were getting a lot of heat last week because Rob
talking shit about us too.
People were talking shit about us. Rob Liefeld retweeted this. Rob Liefeld, who's in California, and he talks to these people. I mean, he created Deadpool. He gets royalty checks from them all the time. He knows a lot of people in the business. Said he believes major changes are coming. Fandom Pulse puts out that they're hearing they're going to do more with Webtoon. We already see the circumstantial evidence of that Disney has actually bought into Webtoon.
Yes.
And now they're moving out of New York. So I'm sorry. If you think things are going to stay the same.
They're moving Cebulski to handle manga and the Asian market.
And that
makes
actually
sense from his background.
That is his wheelhouse. So, I mean, that's one thing, I had a lot of hope for Marvel when they put Cebulski back in, but then it turned out that he really wasn't the editor. They kind of had a phantom editor, and it was that Sana Amanat, who I hope is long gone. I haven't heard anything from her lately.
I don't pay attention, but yes.
But, putting him in charge of the manga side of things, which also makes sense, too, because they had to deal with, I think it was Shueisha that was doing the Deadpool manga, and that is expiring, too. So they're probably going to do all this stuff in-house and then outsource it. Cebulski's probably the right person for the job. And he can use his Japanese pen name again. There you go.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He
piss people off. So this is come from the Hollywood Reporter. Yeah, Marvel's cooked, man. This is it. Marvel Comics is leaving New York and moving staffers to LA as part of a major overhaul. Exclusive. The Disney-owned publisher is also getting a new editor-in-chief as 100 employees are being asked to relocate to Burbank by next July. Again, why pay rent in New York when you've got a compound in California?
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be much difference in the expense for the employees.
No,
because they're both expensive.
So just to be clear, the Marvel offices now are not, they're sharing an office with Disney Publishing or Worldwide Publishing. And as I understand, it's not ideal. I've been to 387 Park Avenue South. That's the address most people remember from the 80s and 90s. And they haven't been there in a long time. So they've been moving the stapler for a while, ever since Disney bought them. But to move out of New York completely is a big deal, because Marvel is very associated with New York and New York City, and all the stories were created in New York by New Yorkers.
A lot of the stories take place in New York.
They take place in New York, and what separates Marvel Comics from DC Comics is that Marvel Comics were supposed to be more grounded in reality. So a lot of those early stories, especially, you saw so much of the lives and the personality and the flavor of the artists and the writers that lived in New York. And now that's probably going to be sapped out of it completely, but I don't think it's been that way for a while anyway. Yeah. The relocation was revealed to staff at a town hall on Thursday. Yep, Marvel's New York office in Midtown, where employees were informed that its publishing division is going to pull up stakes and transfer operations to Burbank, the current headquarters of Marvel Studios and corporate parent, the Walt Disney Company. Makes sense. It's not great for Marvel, but it makes sense.
Right.
The development is accompanied by a changing of the guard at the top. Stephen Wacker, a respected veteran comics editor who earned an Emmy nomination, so TV people, Emmy nomination for his work in the company's forays in animation, has been named Marvel's new editor-in-chief. So this is the guy, I think, that did the he did some of the animation, but he did the Werewolf by Night. I thought he did the Werewolf by Night, maybe not, but he does a lot of the animation stuff. The problem with that is the Marvel animation has been hit or miss. Outside of X-Men 97, a lot of it's been shit. So I was like, good luck with that.
I'm hearing season 2 isn't as good as season 1 either, by the way.
Well, Bo DeMayo's not involved. But I mean, I've seen some clips. I haven't watched season 2 yet because I was kind of pissed off they got rid of Bo DeMayo. But I've seen some clips. It doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look terrible.
I don't watch it at all. So I'm just telling you what I heard.
So he's replacing CB Cebulski, who has been in charge since 2017. Cebulski is going to remain part of the family. He's going to Japan to spearhead the company's push into manga, among other things. Among other things, as editor, Asia Originals, Webtoon.
Yeah.
It
is a completely different beast. I can't stress this enough.
No.
People were like, some of the things I've seen people saying about Webtoon, they really don't understand Webtoon. And it is its own thing, but you need to tell stories in a way that those audiences will read them. And the art is a completely different, manga art is a much different beast than what's regular superhero art. It's not bean mouth. I mean, some of them are Cal art style, but those are the American versions on Webtoons. The actual Webtoons that go usually are the more polished manga style art.
Both changes are meant to reinvigorate the comic book side of the company, which has been overshadowed in recent years by the success of Marvel's movies and by a creative slump that saw it lose its position as comics market share leader. Boy, we were told that wouldn't have any bearing whatsoever. Marvel Comics is fine. Just because they're not selling doesn't mean Disney doesn't want to keep bankrolling them and burning money. Oh my God, guys.
Oh, you clowns don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, we totally fucking know what we're talking about. And I'm telling you,
Hi,
again,
Zach. Fuck off.
Hi, Zach, fuck off. As somebody who worked on Disney Comics for like 15 damn years, we know how this company thinks. And the fact that Marvel Comics has been allowed to have the autonomy it's had as long as it's had it is solely because the movies, I think, were performing or so, I don't know what the hell, or they were at the top of the sales charts, at Diamond for a long time. But clearly things were not good. Liefeld's been calling this out. He's been getting attacked. This shows right here. Things are not fucking good, and this is why they're making a big change. And I'm telling you, before it's all said and done, they will still make, and I'll be very clear, I'm not saying they're going to stop making Marvel comics. They will still make Marvel print comics. I just don't think they're going to come from Marvel Comics proper. They will have people at Marvel Comics, Stephen Wacker probably, and his army of brand managers that will oversee comics production at other places, possibly Skybound. I've heard that Kirkman was interested in doing the Marvel characters, but they're already making changes to the comics. They're already changing the comic book histories to match the movies now.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, this isn't because we're just talking out of our rear. We know people. We've been around a long time. We've been hearing this from people who would know.
Yeah. So this is how Disney does business, guys. We've been telling you this was going to happen. Presiding over the town hall were Feige and the publishing unit's new leaders, Marvel's head of television, animation, comics, and franchise, Brad Winderbaum and David Abdo. One of these guys is a music guy. One of them is, the other guy's a Hollywood guy. And then we got the dude coming in from animation. They're not none of these people are really comic book people, because what they're concerned about is the bigger picture, and comics are such a microscopic part of that picture, even though they're basing all the franchises on it. The actual comic books themselves are getting lost in the soup. And this is just how Disney does business. They're going to outsource everything before it's all said and done, 100%. Mm-hmm. They said this move will position the team beside our broader creative organization and create opportunities for collaboration across both Marvel and Disney. They said in a letter that was sent company-wide after the town hall and obtained by the Hollywood Reporter, bringing our comics, film, television, and other creative teams together will help us learn from one another, collaborate, and build on the strengths that make Marvel the true house of ideas.
So it's synergy. We're focused on synergy, not just comics.
Yes. The move to California is seismic.
Yeah.
New York City is considered the birthplace of the comic book industry, and the company's earlier incarnations, Timely and Atlas, were headquartered on 42nd Street. New York is where most of Marvel's classic creators, including Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and Steve Ditko, resided. That's why, especially the early Marvel comics, were very reflective of the times and the location that they're created in. DC Comics used fictitious cities. Marvel Comics took place in and around New York City, and it felt like actual New York City because all these guys lived in New York City. Mm-hmm. It's also where most of the key heroes lived. Yeah. They said Spider-Man's the most New York hero of them all. Well, they filmed the last Spider-Man movie overseas, so yeah, maybe not. They said the move also leaves the Empire City without a major comic publisher because DC left in 2015. Now, the difference is when DC left, comics were still doing okay, but that was still kind of like one foot in the grave, because they're looking at this like, you're feeding the Hollywood machine. We can't, all work together when you're over there. Plus, I think they also want to keep, again, knowing Disney, they want to keep an eye on these guys. They're like, yeah, you're going to be on the compound with the rest of us. You're not going to be out there freewheeling in New York and doing whatever the fuck you think you're going to be doing. You're going to work for us.
Yeah, we have to sit on you, basically.
We have to sit on you because we don't trust you, Marvel, to do the right thing. So we're going to sit on you. And Kevin Feige's probably going to be sitting in on all the comics editorial meetings. Before it's all said and done, they will make sure that all the comics and the movies and the curtains and the carpet match, the drapes match the curtains, whatever the saying is.
The carpet matches the drapes, but that's a whole nother saying that means something completely different. As a ginger, I've heard it often.
They said when the new Marvel Comics leadership came on board in May, they began meeting with staff in New York to assess the feasibility of moving. As part of the process, they conducted an audit of where the comic book creators are based, where once most creators lived in the tri-state area. That was true because you would either have to FedEx your pages or drive them to Marvel, your actual physical pages. And I was actually considered for an internship at Marvel when I was in high school, but I lived at the time in Pennsylvania. This would have been my senior year. I was back in Pennsylvania. I lived in Pennsylvania. They would not take me. They're like, if you lived in New York, absolutely, but this is going to be too hard. It's not going to happen. So they wanted you in New York. It made sense to be in New York. There were some people that lived in California and they had FedEx stuff or whatever, but for the most part, for the longest time, if you wanted to make comic books, you moved to New York City. That was what you're supposed to do. So as part of that process, they conducted an audit of where they're based, where most of them lived in the tri-state area before. They said more located in California than in New York now.
So yeah, we have the letter here. Let me, it says, this was the letter from, this is Brad Winderbaum and David
Abdo. Yep.
Okay. They said, we just wrapped the town hall with the team in New York and wanted to share some important Marvel comics and franchise news with everyone. As we look toward the future, we've made the decision to relocate the comics and franchise division to Marvel Central headquarters in Burbank, California. This move will position the team beside our broader creative organization and create opportunities for collaboration across both Marvel and Disney. Our goal is simple: to continue to make the best comic books in the business. keep trying. Bringing our comics, film, television, other creative teams together will help us learn from one another, which we talked about, collaborate, and build the strengths that make Marvel a true house of ideas. New York has played a huge part in who Marvel is as a company and the pages of our comics. While our network of writers and artists is now an international operation, New York is still woven into our DNA, and that will never change. Our colleagues in New York have helped shape generations of stories and characters, and their contributions to Marvel's legacy cannot be overstated. We sincerely hope they choose to continue that journey with us in California. We are committed to supporting every affected employee throughout this transition, which will take place over the next 12 months. Interrupting for a minute, but if they already have artists living in California, why do they have to move? Couldn't they just still work from New York and send it into California, since they have California people sending it into New York?
Yeah, it's probably their editorial staff, the production staff. They're probably moving them now.
Because I'm just saying, otherwise, it kind of, the cartoonists are everywhere else, and you didn't care before,
right? So if it is anything like DC, I remember they basically used the opportunity at DC to get rid of people. Like, oh, we know this person's never going to leave New York, so do you want to move to California? No. Oh, cool. Okay, we're going to replace you then. Bye.
Yeah. We also announced today that Stephen Wacker has been named Marvel Comics' new editor-in-chief. Many of you know Stephen from his years at Marvel between 2006 and 2022. He is a tremendous editor, a passionate advocate for creators, and someone who deeply understands that Marvel Comics is a source code for our entire enterprise. Stephen will be at SDCC and will officially join us in Burbank the week of July 27th before spending time in New York for the first week of August. We're excited for everyone who doesn't know him to get to know him. At the same time, long-term editor-in-chief C.B. Cebulski will be stepping into a new role overseeing a pack originated, is that what that is? Graphic fiction and manga based in Japan.
Okay, I want to stop right there. That is fucking hilarious because they tried to cancel him for using a Japanese pen name, and the guy's being put in charge of all of their Asian comics.
Yeah, that's why I said it's so fitting for him, because he was doing it already. This opportunity reflects both CB's passion for the medium and the tremendous potential we see in that space, Webtoons.
Yep.
We're deeply grateful for his leadership, partnership, and stewardship of the Marvel line over the past decade, and are fortunate to have him spearheading this new endeavor for us. We know that it's been a year of significant change for Marvel. Through all of it, this team has continued to show up with creativity, resilience, and the unwavering commitment to storytelling. That commitment is the foundation of everything we do, and it's what will carry us into the next chapter. For our New York colleagues, we'll be sharing additional details soon, and we're available to answer questions and support you through the transition. Thank you for everything you do for Marvel and for the fans we serve, Brad and David. And if you aren't willing to move, don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out.
That is exactly that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to use this opportunity, I'm telling you, to get rid of people that are dead weight at Marvel. And they're going to be like, we don't want you anyway, so here's a severance package. See ya. That's what they did at DC. They got rid of some people that were there for decades, and they kind of knew. Companies do this too. They're like, yeah, we got a lot of activist employees at this company. Let's just move.
Well,
and then,
moving to California
you're not
going to get rid of the activists.
No. But I'm saying I've seen it happen before.
There's 2 locations for it the most.
I've seen this happen before where they're like, yeah, let's just move the company, and then these assholes won't go with us. That happened with them.
They might here.
That happened with oh my god, what was the one blog, like AV Club or whatever? They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna move it out of the city and move it someplace else. Oh, you can't make it. You can't make it to LA. Oh, too bad. I guess we're gonna have to replace you. Boo hoo hoo us. You know,
but all I'm hearing is they're gonna take it to Burbank so they can sit on everybody, micromanage it, make it all synergized, and then while at the same time doing a bunch of stuff in Japan and overseas, probably Asian market, Korea, the manga and webtoons. That's what I'm hearing.
Oh boy. So this is what. So Whacker, I'm trying to think. Yeah, he was an editor, I guess.
I don't know who he is.
Well, he was. I mean, I'd say newer, but we're talking like 15 years.
I know Cebulski, but I don't know.
Cebulski I've known about for a while, but he's a longstanding Marvel editor and executive. He spent more than 15 years at Marvel, 7 of them as a senior editor, overseeing several comic book runs, including One More Day and Brand New Day, Superior Spider-Man, and other eras of the Amazing Spider-Man. And he also helped launch the introduction of Kamala Khan.
Sorry.
So, yeah.
Which they have tried to make stick repeatedly, and it doesn't stick.
Well, maybe this time.
Maybe it'll stick in Asia. That's what they're going to do. They're going to probably, well, she's not working here, so we're going to make her a webtoon. And we're going to make her, like a girly comic on Webtoon. And then suddenly she'll be popular. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen.
Okay, so he was the editor at DC for the 52 series. Okay. So yeah, he is a comic book guy. He's been doing this for a while.
I don't know him, so I didn't say either way.
Wow. This is going to be really interesting, guys. I'm telling you, it's all roads lead to outsourcing. Now that does not mean, because a lot of people really have this wrong. They're like, well, that means to say that Marvel's never going to print comic books again. That's the stupidest thing I've ever. It's like, no, dumbass. That's not what I'm saying. Listen to the words coming out of my mouth. The words coming out of my mouth are, Marvel will no longer produce the comics in-house. It's no different than Hasbro outsourcing its comics to Skybound or IDW or whoever. And they have the reins. They have people at Hasbro that tell them what they can and can't do. Unfortunately, at IDW, they were asleep at the wheel. But Disney will not be asleep at the wheel. Not for Marvel. They will pay very close attention. And honestly, the comics that may come out of whatever third party may happen, and it's not going to happen overnight. It's probably going to be a few years, but whatever happens, they might actually wind up being better than what they're producing now.
Yeah, what they're producing now hasn't been great. So
I mean, we'll see. But
the Webtoons is going to be a completely different audience.
Oh yeah,
it's not for you, basically, and that's probably true. And it is a completely different audience. What they're basically trying to do is they're saying we're going to go there too, to the Asian market, because the Asian market's dominating everything. Let's be honest here. Manga is kicking everyone's ass. So their idea, which I don't think is going to work as well as they think it's going to work, is we're just going to turn our characters into manga, and then we'll kick everybody's ass too. And it's like, if you keep it the way it is, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, that's just it. They're looking at the long term. I mean, realistically, even if comics are objectively better now, even if Absolute Batman is, selling better than most of the other stuff on the stands, how much time does the monthly paper floppy direct market comic book really have now that Diamond's collapsed? And everybody's like, well, kids are reading comics now. They're buying back issues. I'm like, yeah, exactly. They're buying back issues.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. Does Marvel make any more money off the back issues? No, they do not.
See, I'm the one person to ask, because I think buying floppies is kind of dumb when you can just wait and buy the graphic novel.
I don't buy, mostly the floppies are the speculator market at this point. I personally, for reading copies, I buy the trades, because not only is it a much better deal, but you're getting a more satisfying chunk of comic, and also they're easier to store. Like, I spent years bagging and boarding. There's some comics, obviously, you want to bag them and board them and keep them in your hermetically sealed chamber in the basement or whatever. But
it's his chamber of secrets. No.
Chamber of secrets. But like, for reading copies, I always buy the trades. If I like it enough and I feel like I have to track down the first printing or whatever as a collectible thing, that's fine. I'm not really a collector. I'm a reader. So like, I don't care, just as long as I can read the damn thing, what format it's in. Yeah, so there it is. This is absolutely going to happen at some point. I don't think it's all going to Webtoon, but CPU Cebulski is probably going to be in charge of whatever does come to Webtoon.
Well, that's what it sounds like to me. But it sounds like they're trying. I think they're too focused on Asian market. They're saying Asian market in general, but it'd be manga and Webtoon.
All right, we're going to wrap it up.
Yes.
Please subscribe. We'll talk later.
Bye.
Now funding on Kickstarter, a brand new set of Halloween mask pins, vintage style pins designed by me, Kneon. Check it out at halloween.ninja. That's halloween.ninja.